Kickback with Kelly and Barbara. This is the penultimate episode before we wrap it up at the end of this week. So we thought we'd do a little bit of an all-star call-out. And when we thought about who we could bring on for this episode, we thought about two outstanding women who really did everything they could to give us their time and dedication, especially when we were the morning show earlier on during Circuit Breaker.
And also girl power, what's up?
Yeah, exactly. All about the girls today, but also all about the movement, because it's so important to keep moving.
Yes, and I think whilst we've learned during Circuit Breaker that we need to, figure out how to get up from our desk and move around, it's even more important that we continue to do so moving into phase 2 and hopefully, maybe phase 3, as things start to progress in life.
Exactly. So we decided to bring back our favorite Gyrotonic and Pilates instructor, Sarah Lin. Sarah, come and join us. Now,
Dun, 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 dun.
she
Get
is
fanfare music as well.
Gyrotonic instructor to the stars and all-around awesome human being. Sarah, thanks for coming back and joining us.
No problem. It's my pleasure.
I'm loving the color coordination.
I know.
From the chair to the tights
Yes.
to the top to your hair.
My favorite color.
I couldn't have tell.
She tried to get shoes but couldn't find them
I
to
know,
match.
yeah.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about movement then. Why is it so important?
Well, because if you don't move, you will lose it, basically. And so I've seen, in my profession, we've seen so many people who have lost their movement, basically, because they've been sedentary or they've been stuck in a certain position for so long, and sometimes it's a bit heartbreaking as well, because it's painful and it really isn't very functional for life, in just even going through life in pain or being obstructed in certain movements.
And it's not just like old people that you're worrying about, because I know that especially with us all working from home, you're literally walking maybe 10 steps from your bedroom to your living room, then maybe another 5
fridge.
steps to the fridge and back.
And to the fridge again.
Yeah, we're not actually moving as much as we normally would do if we were going to an office. So a lot of people are clocking in several hundred steps, or maybe at best a couple of thousand steps if they are at home and doing that work. So like you said, if you don't move it, you're going to lose it. But it doesn't just refer to flexibility like a lot of people usually think of, but that ability to move. And that, can you imagine sort of like losing that ability to move as young as sort of like 30-something or 40-something years old?
There are those people. Most of the time, people come in with like sports injuries. So, they came from a place of movement, and then they either overdid it or they injured themselves because of muscular imbalances or weaknesses in certain areas.
Right.
So those are the ones who we see who are younger. But then there are those who also have frozen shoulders, for instance, like from just not moving, and they're young, and they just can't go into the full range of motion in the shoulders anymore, because in our daily lives, we're stuck with doing everything in front of us, and nothing ever happens behind us unless you forgot something behind you, and then you would like turn your neck or like crane your neck and go grab it, or when you're reversing maybe in the car.
So we've gone from the older generation to, you do see people in our generation. Let's bring it even younger. So you've got a baby girl.
Yes.
She's not a baby anymore.
Oh, she's 2 years old.
She's a big girl now. But how, as a parent and being in this industry that you're in, do you encourage her to move in a way that is beneficial for her?
Well,
And babies are they're all over the place. They're so flexible as well.
Yes. So I mean, it's fun to watch them grow, right? So from a baby, they're so mobile. They have like no restrictions at all
No
in
fear.
their yeah, exactly. But then they also don't have strength, right? In their muscles, and then they slowly start to gain the strength, and then they start crawling, and then they start walking, but then they lack stability at that point. And then as they start getting older, they learn it. It's all innate, right? They learn how to move on their own. We don't really teach them. Okay, you bring one foot in front of the other, and then you take the next step. And there's no need to teach them, because it's all organic. It's all very innate in them.
It's also monkey see, monkey do, right?
Yeah, exactly, that too. So for now that she's older, actually a great tip, if you're lazy at home and you're stuck working at home, is to teach them to do chores for you.
I like where you're going with this.
So if you like teach them the items in your fridge, let's say, for example, and then you want them to go grab the milk, then you teach them how to pull the door open, go grab the milk, and bring it to you, and then that's
Wow. Mommy hacks right there.
Has Daddy been doing that with the beer?
probably. And yeah.
When mommy's not home.
Oh yeah, he taught her how to shoot hoops with her shoes into the drawer.
Ah,
Yeah.
I think I remember seeing that Insta story.
Yes.
Wow. Not in an actual hoop.
No,
Into a drawer.
into the shoe drawer. So
into the
so
shoe
he
drawer,
didn't have
so
to
it's a
go
key.
keep the shoes. Yes. So functional movements right there.
Yeah.
But I mean, apart from stuff that you do at home, I mean, it's great to bring them out and just run about in the playgrounds, teach them. I think the most important thing is to teach them confidence in like climbing, or even climbing the stairs, or coming down the slide. Yeah, and it doesn't have to be anything too complicated. Even just throwing and catching a ball. Sometimes, like even kids these days, like some don't know how to catch. They don't have the motor skills to catch the ball or even
And they're
throw
not
the ball.
practicing that hand-eye coordination as well, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
And I guess it's also very different because nowadays with all the digital devices that our kids have access to, it's also a lot easier to just say, oh yeah, just play something on the iPad or the phone or whatever to keep them distracted instead of engaging with your children in an active environment. So we're going to explore this a little bit more with someone else who's been very active outdoors and about, and also another one of our all-stars here on the show. Don't go anywhere. We've got Wany Misban coming up after the break. This is Kickback with Kelly and Barbara.
Welcome back to Kickback with Kelly and Barbara on our movement episode with our all-star favorites who you would have seen during the stretch segments on the morning show. Our second guest with us today, Wany Misban, fitness instructor and Nike master trainer. Hi.
Hello. Welcome
How you
back.
doing?
Thank you.
With your muscles.
Oh, thanks.
And your really bright tights.
This
We're
is
loving
like
them.
this is the highlight, literally like
Literally
a
the
highlight
highlight.
of my legs.
But to be fair, if anyone can pull off really, really bright colors on tights, it's you.
Wany. Yeah.
So like we mentioned, we've had the both of you on quite a fair bit as regulars during our movement section.
Because we really enjoyed your movement.
Exactly, and everything was just so applicable. How have things changed for you since phase 2 started?
Well, just more time outside. Basically, there's a bit more work going on. I'm still doing online classes. That's cut down quite a bit, but yeah, we're just seeing more people. I think that gives a bit more energy actually. So it's quite nice to have real life clients that I can see and maybe prod a bit. So I don't know whether that's the same experience for Sarah, but it's always good to actually.
Has it been
Have
nice
quite
being
cool.
back in a studio and actually teaching physical
Yeah,
classes?
like talking to real people
Yeah.
through the mask, no
Yeah,
less,
through the mask,
but
yes.
at least it's something.
It's a step forward.
Yes.
Now, talking about movement then, Wani, what does movement mean to you and why is it so important?
Movement's everything, basically. You want to actually live pain-free. For me, the most important thing is that I want to actually grow older, pain-free, with like to do everything that I want. That's the main reason why I want to make sure that I am moving almost every joint that I can to the maximum capability, I would say. So it's mainly that, the key thing. Yeah.
Now, we were talking about getting young kids moving just now with Sarah. And you've done a fair amount of work with kids of a variety of ages and a variety of ability levels as well, right?
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit more about that.
And so I have been, for a couple of years, actually been giving time also to teach kids at the Mountbatten Vocational School. It's a school that actually takes in students with different abilities. We're talking from even students from with Down syndrome or spectrums of autism, and even some, it's just normal abilities, just different levels maybe of financial status and whatnot. So it's been very interesting because one class will have so many different types of abilities. So it can be very challenging to actually speak to them, to actually teach them the movements. But movement is really, really important. And you see, like especially kids with, I would say, well, I won't just say kids, basically. Those with Down syndrome, their bodies are shaped differently because genetically there's some differences, basically. So it's very interesting, and you need to help them, assist them, and get the different ranges for them to move. Because even for us, basically, we are all structured differently.
Yeah.
And the way we walk, the way we hold ourselves can be different in some minor movements. So it's always a joy to actually see them achieve, like, let's say, even a good back crawl. So that's actually quite enjoyable.
Is it more important for people with disabilities or with people who have special needs to move or to encourage them to move? Because maybe these movements don't come as naturally as it would to maybe someone like Sarah's daughter.
Yeah. I think it's very tricky to answer that specifically because different people are different, have abilities, basically. So even with those with autism, like kids with autism, there are certain movements that can actually help them kind of deal with their emotions. So like throwing things. So like a slam ball for us is for us to actually, like, we can actually vent and our emotions into a slam ball, and we know how to do it. So for them, it actually releases their emotions too, and then after that they are a bit more manageable, basically. They may not interact or speak as we do as easily, but when they're much calmer when that happens, basically. And things like I say, a back roll is a great exercise.
Could
for
you demonstrate a bear crawl for
bra-
us?
bra-
A bra crawl.
So many crawls, basically. Normal crawl for even a baby, right? We'll just talk about babies. We'll just do this, and this is a great movement for. Basically for rehab, for anyone who have any back pains, we get them into just this. And we're talking about anyone of any age, basically, any ability. There's a lot of coordination. And sometimes, especially moving backwards, I notice a lot of people will
say
just...
I cannot
we do this, and then the leg go very far. And so the ranges are different.
Yeah.
So then we make it a little bit harder, or it's slight varieties. Knees off, we crawl
Look at
forwards.
that nice flat back. Also, just to note,
Yeah.
the hump on her back is a mic pack.
Thank you. Not anything dangerous. And then there's also the one with the legs up, basically, the knees off. This crawls. So there are many varieties. Wow, I'm not able to talk very well with that. So that with coordination actually is very, very important. And anyone with different varieties of capabilities actually would have to work their brain, basically, just to coordinate. So there's a lot of senses being worked through.
So speaking of that
sorry.
sorry,
You-
I'll just
you-
jump in. Speaking of the coordination then, gyrotonic.
Yes.
Briefly just recap and explain what gyrotonic is, because I find that gyrotonic really helps with coordination.
Gyrotonic is a movement system that focuses on unwinding the joints in a very spiral manner, because Wani talks about ball and socket joints a lot, and she probably say it later on or something. But shoulder joints and your hip joints are ball and socket joints, and they're meant to be able to rotate in
Sort of
yeah,
like
exactly,
range.
in all
it?
its range.
I feel like I don't fit this criteria very well. They're supposed to rotate.
Yeah, you're seeing me for gyro.
Yeah, you think it's time, Barbara?
Yeah, but so Gyrotonic uses the aid of a gyrotonic tower, a machine, to possibly help with cables and weights to unwind and decompress your joints, and also encourage mobility in that range.
And why is that so important?
Yeah, because if you, again, we come back to, if you don't use it, you lose it. So you need that range. It's almost like oiling your joints, right?
Yeah.
Like oiling a car and the engine in the motor. You need to get it moving. You need to get it lubricated to maintain the range and the movement in the joints.
And it's almost like if you don't, it gets a bit rusty.
Exactly.
So that being said, why is it, I mean, obviously we know why it's so important to encourage our seniors to move as well, but what are some of the ways, like sometimes as children and grandchildren, we don't know what's best for the older generation. So what are some of the better ways to encourage our seniors to move?
Okay, so
Aside from seeing you for gyrotonic.
Or like asking them, can you help me get some food from the fridge?
Yeah, I don't think your mother's going to appreciate that very much.
No, are you sure? Very simple movements like so seniors always have problems with their shoulders, their shoulder joints. So some of the things like just even getting them to hold on to a ball, right, a tennis ball, because I like them to hold on to a ball because it mirrors the ball of the joint of your arm bone in the socket. So if you even just lift up and then like spiral it out to the side. So if you see my hand, and
So
yeah,
okay, let's all do this. Why not? Okay.
So
Tight
if-
sleeves on.
So if you lift up from your elbow, like holding onto the ball, right, and then you think about turning the ball out towards the camera, or then turning it back behind you, like you're gonna reach for something that you forgot, and then scoop, bring it
Bobs.
forward,
Straighten your arm.
and bring it around. Yeah. Now, bring the ball down, and then bring it forward, and then bring the elbow back up. Yeah. So if you hear sounds, that's good. It means that you're mobilizing.
So if I hear sounds, it's good. That's not one thing I've heard before.
So it's a very spirally movement, and yeah, it's a very, very simple movement, but some people get stuck at the back, and some people feel like, and if you have any mobility issues or any injuries, shoulder injuries, or any problems with your shoulder joint, then you'll feel that you might get some areas where you can't actually move it that well.
There's a
and you
reason
get-
why I didn't do it with my left hand.
I'm just practicing on my left because I want to make sure that it's
Balance
okay.
circle.
I heard a definitive crack as it went around. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
All
so
right.
Simple movements, just like that.
What about the hips then? And I'm only saying this because every time I sort of like try and move my hips, they go crack. There you go.
Yeah, I heard that.
Is there anything simple like that we could do with our hips?
Yeah, so I think we went through a bit of that in the previous time where we did some gyro. So if you,
I was very uncoordinated.
oh yes, I did it with you.
Yeah, you did.
If you sit down on the chair and you just bend your knees,
Yep.
think about keeping your hips and your knees like open and sloping forward, right? And then all we're gonna do, if you have a slidey floor, then just slide your legs out like an open.
You do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. And
Maybe
then,
I won't do this one.
yeah. Well, okay. So, yeah, in your home, there wouldn't be a camera in front of you. So you would open, out from the sides, from the hips, and then close, and then bring it back into the center and out and back. And then you can go in a circle, turn the hips out, stretch the legs out. Yeah, okay. We don't have to be 1 meter apart anymore,
Yeah.
and bend the knees. Yeah. So then
It's a 5, it's okay.
Yeah, so again, it's a circular motion,
Yeah.
and this is what we do. Well, it is a gyrotonic exercise that we do, and then you go the other way around
Yeah.
and back into the center.
So just whilst I do this, right, Wani, what advice would you have for people who would like to continue movement or like to try and get people to move?
You can see us. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, not a bad shout.
Not a bad show.
Sorry, can you read the question again? So,
What
for-
advice would you give for movement for people? Simple ways.
There are so many different ways that we can do. And you're talking about, we're not specific about senior citizens.
No, anybody.
Anybody. Yeah, there are so many things. Okay, so coming up and down into a chair or even into a car, that's actually a movement.
That's true.
Wow. Squat game strong.
Yeah. You look at my quads?
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly what we're looking at right now. Okay, so basically just take all these daily movements and turn them
Yes.
into a bit of
Conscious
movement
movements.
therapy.
Correct.
I think a lot of it is about being aware of what your body is doing.
And I
making
think
sure
it's
you're
time
engaged.
now for Wani to help Barbara become a little more aware of what she's doing. Stick with us here on Kickback with Kelly and Barbara, because Wani is going to help Barbara be a little more conscious with some certain movements when they go through their workout on our penultimate edition of Kickback with Kelly and Barbara. Don't go away.
Welcome to Kickback with Kelly and Barbara. Kelly's out of here, but Wani is still with me, and we're just going to do this for 5 minutes just to get our bodies nice and warm.
Your hip.
This is like
basically.
gyro, right?
It's like a part of a gyro. Yeah.
Sarah's just there, like shaking her hand at me. She's like, "That is not gyro." Barbara, stop slaughtering it. Okay, so we're not doing that for 5 minutes.
No, that's actually quite tiring. Just to
I'm
hold it.
a little
It's like
bit
a squat.
but Wani is going to take us through a little workout today, something that you can follow along at home as well. I actually don't know what we're doing, so it's going to be all surprise for me. But we each have a 2.5 kilo plate, so just as easy. You can grab water bottle, a little sandbag, or
Actually, a good way of doing this is to use a shoe.
a shoe.
Yeah, just your shoe. And then
I'm
place it in your
curious
hand.
now, but
Yeah.
who has 2.5 kilo shoes?
You don't need the weight, actually.
Oh, you don't need to wait.
okay.
So it's all about the balance.
Yeah, so it's all about the balance, all about the shoulder mobility also.
The one that I don't have much of?
Yeah,
Cool.
kind of.
Great. Should I take out my shoe and use, never mind, we'll use the weight.
Okay, yeah.
Trivia. Okay, so what are we doing?
So today we're doing Turkish get up.
Cool.
Yeah, not Turkish sweets or Turkish tea.
Turkish delights. Yeah.
It's Turkish get ups actually. So what happens over here, the movement, it's a single-sided movement basically. It will come up from the ground all the way up to standing basically.
Right.
So let's do this without the weight first and
Oh,
see how you get the movement. Okay, and then after
I've
that
done a Czech get up. I haven't done a Turkish get up.
What's a Czech get up?
It's a
Okay,
little
let's see whether
different.
it's the same as the Turkish
Okay,
get up.
can.
Maybe they just changed the country.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Wing around the name.
we're gonna actually lie down.
Oh.
I'm gonna face. Where are we gonna face? Yeah.
You face out a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. So what we're gonna? Can you even see me?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're gonna actually have your right hand up to the sky.
Right hand up.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay. From there, you're gonna actually slide your right leg in.
Right leg in.
Mhm. Okay, so imagine you flexing your foot. It's flexing your foot. Flex your hand.
Flex my
Right,
hand.
keep your arms extended fully.
Arm
your
extended.
Elbow. Yeah.
All right.
All right. Your left hand is about 45 degrees out to the side.
Left hand 45 degrees out.
Okay.
I'm a bit stressed now. I'm worried about what's
Your
coming.
legs are slightly about hip distance.
Okay.
Okay, so you look up.
Got it?
All right, you good?
Yep.
Okay, usually.
I'm getting the nod of approval from our producer. She's like, yeah, you're doing it right.
All right, cool. From there, what we're gonna do, you're gonna push up to rest on your left elbow. Okay, press up. Keep your right arm straight. That's it. Now from there, push up all the way. Sit up tall. Rest on your left hand. Good. From there, you're gonna actually come up. Push your hips up. Good. Okay. Keep your arms straight throughout. You're gonna slide your left foot behind into almost like a lunge position. Glide it back. Hand off.
Oh, hand off.
Yes.
Oh.
Okay, perfect. From there, we're gonna actually stand up. Does it look familiar, like your check get up?
A bit different.
A bit different?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a little bit different.
Let's see how you go. Let's get down. So we
Go.
go into
So we
reverse.
reverse
okay?
the movement, right?
So you're gonna
So you lunge.
lunge down, knee down. You're gonna lean your hand out to this side. Look up at your hand. Okay. Glide your left foot forwards.
Glide.
Okay. Land on your heel. Then your bum down.
Bum down.
Okay. Then
Elbow
elbow
down.
down and lay all the way
Lie down.
through.
Oh, this is the best bit. And you kind of feel that tension in your forearm as well.
Okay, so usually we do this all with a kettlebell. Kettlebell
Right.
will be like this, basically. So the arm will be nice and straight. There will be movement through the shoulder. You are pushing through all the way.
And this kind of stuff is like full body engagement.
Yeah, from the abs to the hips to the
Awesome.
legs
Okay, so let's try this. One on the right, one on the left with the weight.
with the weight.
With
Okay.
the weight.
Yeah.
Let's do it. I mean, we've
Let's do
got
it.
it here, right?
Yeah,
Might as
might
well
as well.
use it.
Okay, so you can use a plate. You usually use a kettlebell, a dumbbell, or if you don't want to use any weights, use a shoe basically. So you gotta make sure you lock out your right arm.
Yeah.
Okay, ready?
Okay.
And
And the
let's go.
key here will definitely be to make sure I do not drop this on my
your
face. Okay? Cool.
Okay, ready?
Good to go.
And go. Up. Arm straight. Look up at your top hand if you can.
Oh.
So you can see where your plate goes. Lift the hips up.
It's up.
Squeeze the glutes and then slide your left foot behind. Come up and stand. Then look in front once you stand up.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, okay? So we're gonna
There is only
step
so
back,
much coordination that can happen here.
lunge back. look
Lunge
straight.
back.
When you lean down, look up at your hand.
Oh, that's the turning point when you look up at your hand.
Okay. Then from there, glide your foot forwards, drop the hips down, rest in your elbow, and lay all the way through.
Okay.
All right,
And the
good
key
job.
is to do it slow, right?
Yeah, with control.
Like the slower you go, the more kind of engagement there is. I
with
feel.
your abs especially, right?
Okay, so
Okay.
we're gonna go left
Ready?
leg in.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we're gonna go on to. I'll lead you through this one.
Okay.
Let's see how much the student has learned. Okay, so right hand out, you're gonna go up onto your elbow, onto your hand,
Mm-hmm.
hip up, right leg to the back, into a kneel,
Look straight.
and look straight, and step up.
Yeah.
Right, so that whole like look straight before you step up definitely makes a difference. Okay, we go back into the lunge. Then you look
Lean
up at your
away.
hand.
Lean away, look at your hand.
Lean away, look up at your hand. And then right leg glide forward, butt down, elbow down, body down, and my hip cracked. Awesome. All right,
You
well,
got it. Nice.
so this kind of movement, I mean, you can go quite heavy with it.
You can go quite heavy with it.
Um,
Your goal is to eventually get into a heavier weight, and ideally you use a kettlebell basically where the weight drops into your arm. So
Right,
it's
there
nice.
is
Yeah.
so much engagement in your arms and basically like the full body. And all you really need to do is like 3 reps on each side
Yes.
to feel a solid workout
Yeah.
has been done.
This is actually a great warm up, but also
Warm-up?
yeah, it's a great
I'm
warm up.
like, yo, that was the main workout.
And then there's actually the workout itself, so you can build it up like a pyramid, basically going up with the weights and then bringing the weights down also.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us here today and
Thank you for
teaching us a
having me.
new movement. We hope you've enjoyed this movement episode of Kickback with Kelly and Barbara. We're going into our final episode on Friday with the return of sport. We've got Patrick Kinghorn and Duncan Elias coming into studio with us. We'll catch you then. Bye.